who we would like to see as Batman. And now
Mhm.
we have kind of a rumor going around that's kind of really catching up with a lot of catching up some steam is Ben Barnes wants to play Batman. I didn't think of him at first. He's not somebody that
Mhm.
kind of popped in my head, but now, like he said it, I was like, I kind of like it.
I
Like
kind
I
of like
kind of
it
really like
too.
it. Uh-huh.
I kind of like it too. I could see him as a Bruce
And a Batman.
and a
Like he's
Batman.
got
Yeah,
he's got that like that jawline, you know what I mean? Which Batman needs to have that jawline.
yeah. We need that square jaw for sure.
You know, so he's a good age, I
Mhm.
think.
Same.
How
Yeah, because
maybe too old.
if
He's
this is gonna,
44.
yeah, and
A
if
little
they're
bit
going
older,
with,
but
yeah, and if they're going with a Batman who's kind of been at it for a while, um, because if they're having the Bat family,
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily mind that age.
Yeah, because you don't want to
Mhm.
go too old. Because that was one thing
Yeah.
we were talking about on a few Saturdays ago, was if you go too old, then you kind of turn into the Ben Affleck version of Batman, where
Mhm.
you're not past your prime, but you've done it all, and you're kind of the big brooding kind of Batman. But if you go too young, then you're the Pattinson kind of
Mhm.
version. So you needed something in between. I thought 35 was a good age. He's 44, so he's a little bit older,
Mhm.
but you can get away with him, you know, being that he doesn't look too crazy old.
Yeah,
But like you
exactly.
said, if you're gonna have the Bat family, like he's already had to have gone through a couple Robins. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like Dick Grayson's got to be, like a man at this point. He can't be like a teenager anymore. Like
Yeah, they might even
yeah.
have. I wouldn't be surprised if they have Dick Grayson like already out in Bloodhaven doing his Nightwing thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
because I know that's one of the rumors is James Gunn wants to do a Titans thing. That's one of the rumors. He hasn't said it or anything, but
mhm.
insiders are saying it.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
mhm, which I'd be all for. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
wouldn't
out
mind
here.
Ben Barnes.
It's not it's not Batfleck, but I'm not mad at that. It's not bad. I never even thought of him. Because I was looking for people like in the 30, 35 range. But yeah, yeah. They want Damien. You need older bats. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
You know.
if yeah, you need a Batman who's, like I said, kind of on, like, not like ancient, but on the older side, old enough to sell the fact that he's kind of been around the block.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
been doing it for a while. And
Yeah. So good.
yeah, if they're really gonna bring in the Bat family, you kind of an older, like, seasoned Batman's kind of um necessary, required.
Yeah.
I just
So
don't,
yeah.
like you said, I don't want them to go like too old, because we need someone with with um with enough longevity to stick
Mm-hmm.
around for X amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
That's
I'm
why
like,
it's
yeah.
like he's well known enough where people kind of know his face. He's more or less like that dude. Is like, oh, I seen him before, like because he's popped up
Exactly.
in a bunch of things.
Mhm.
And he's a good actor. I think we just watched The Institute, and he's in The Institute, and
Yeah,
he I think pretty solid in The Institute.
yeah, he's
Black
great in
Mirror, he
everything
was
he's shown
Shadow
up
and
in.
Bone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
He's mhm. Yeah. And like I said, he's got the right features for the part. Um,
mm-hmm.
I don't think he doesn't seem to come along. He wouldn't like come with a lot of baggage. It's not like he's has like any Hollywood controversies or anything like that.
No, I think the biggest thing he was
Um,
known for is Chronicles of Narnia.
yeah, he sure was Prince Caspian.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Had a really had an accent that was really hard to place in the Prince Caspian movie, and then in Voyage of the Dawn Treader, just kind of did a regular English accent, British accent, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, yeah. But he's 6'1".
Mhm.
Corn Sweat is 6'4". I always pictured Batman a little bit shorter than Superman.
Yeah.
A 3-inch difference is
Mhm.
sounds about right. You know, so
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
I like he's a little too skinny,
Mhm.
but that's nothing a bunch of working out can do.
Yeah, like, would you want? And perhaps I think we may have talked about this in the past, so I apologize for making you repeat anything. But would you want like a big like tank of a Batman, like a huge like animated series Kevin Conroy sized Batman, or like some of the newer comics where he's kind of like leaner, almost like a ninja.
Mm, I don't want him as big as Ben Affleck,
Mhm.
because that's the biggest Batman I think we ever seen on
That's the
screen.
biggest Batman. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I want him bigger than Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And I think Christian was one of the smaller Batmans,
Yeah. He
I want
was
to
more.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think they even kind of tackled that in the Dark Knight with
there we go.
the suit. They were going more for like function and agility. So I think that was kind of they went.
Mhm.
I think they kind of like explained away like his build and that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So how tall Christian Bale height? See how tall he was. He was 6 foot, so it's not like
Yeah,
too
yeah,
crazy.
six even. Mhm.
And you want to talk about camera tricks? He's 6 foot. Tom Hardy is 5'9", and they made
Yeah,
Tom Hardy a monster of a man when he was when standing next to Christian Bale's back.
yeah. They
So
did a lot of camera tricks to make him look like he towered over Bale.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, which is awesome. So yeah, camera tricks work. They do.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't want big brute, but also I don't want like Christian Bale, or even because even Christian Bale is like early on in Batman, when he
Mhm.
first is becoming Batman. Uh, Robert Pattinson is early on. Like, they're smaller. I want a little bit bigger, so a good in between. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you can always mess around with the suit and make the suit a little bit
Mhm.
more bigger than it actually is. But I don't know if they're gonna go that route with this. James Gunn seems to be everything is more you know I don't say realistic, but not padded. It's like, you know, kind of closed rather than like just it's like I don't know, like synthetic. I don't know.
Mhm.
So and I really want him to go like that picture. I want gray and blue. I want the gray and blue Batman. We always get the dark, all blacked out. I want the gray and blue.
Yeah, I think it's time for the gray and blue.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
yeah, yeah, I'm all for the gray and blue. I'd even be for the trunks if they could make it work in the context of the bat suit. It worked with the Superman suit.
yeah,
I wouldn't mind the blue trunk. But yeah, like blue and gray for sure, man. The yellow belt. I even kind of want the like the white eyes on the cowl
yeah.
if they can make that work. I think they could make that work. Um, heck, they looked great on the Wolverine cowl.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can make that work, and I think that would work in the context of Batman if he's trying to look frightening and unnerving to Gotham's crime. I think that would work in making him look more like inhuman, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. So
yeah,
I think they could work that in.
yeah. And you can make it more. like their screens.
Mhm.
You know, they're like Google goggles or something like that. You know, where like you see through them, but you get a lot of the computer screen stuff. So you get like like kind of almost Iron Man kind of style.
Yeah.
So you get to see stuff. So I think that would be cool. Obviously, you're not going to shoot it like how you shoot when you do Iron Man, but something like that will be more. There's no reason like where when Wolverine pulled on the cowl, his eyes just turned white. That's just to make fans happy. I think you could do it where like there's screens or something like that. I think that'd be cool.
Mhm.
Or they like you could turn them off, you could turn them on, you could I don't know. And with having an older Batman, you can always have flashbacks, and in flashbacks, you can give us the blue and gray. If you want to go more of the darker kind of style. Early on, him and do a old Robin in the tights kind of thing. So like do like years ago, like before Metahumans was really kind of before they were big in that universe.
Exactly. Like heck, they did that on the animated series when they would do flashbacks with Bruce when he was like in his 20s or however old when his costume was evolving. They had like the like a different shade of gray, and he just had like the plain bat symbol. It was like a different bat symbol. It wasn't in the yellow oval. So yeah, they could play around with that.
Yeah,
they could play around with that for sure. Like just kind of him kind of changing, upgrading, shuffling through suits, stuff like that. Yeah, I'd be all for that.
Yeah, but this Ben Barnes was not on my radar, but now he kind of is.
I'd be for that.
I'm still a fan of the dude. Why am I having from that 1923 show? Brandon Skellner.
Yeah, I'd be all for that. Just he shares my namesake.
Yeah. Like, I'm kind of like Batman. Yeah, I like I like Brandon.
Yeah, I'd be for him. I'd be for that too. I think we really need. I think we really need someone who could strike that balance and sells it from a physical standpoint, because James Gunn's really on the right track with that so far. I think David Corn Sweat just absolutely knocks Superman out of the park. I think you need someone who can kind of be a good contrast to him. I think you need someone like with kind of who's like a little more darker featured. Like I think Brendan's Skelnar could do that. Ben Barnes could do that. That's like really, really important. And plus, I could see Ben Barnes as the like the billionaire playboy facade of Bruce Wayne.
He has that look.
Yeah, I think they really need to do more with that. They've done fine with it in the past, but they could do more with that in these new movies. So yeah. I could definitely see Ben Barnes. I could see Brandon Skellnar. Did you hear those rumors, man? That people are kind of speculating because James Gunn started following Aaron Taylor Johnson on social media, and now people are like, "Oh, is he going to be Batman?"
No, I don't. He's a good actor. I don't know him as Batman. I don't see it.
His voice is too high pitched.
I don't see it.
No, I don't see it either. Absolutely great actor.
Yeah,
but yeah, him.
Have him be the Flash. Another speedster.
I'd be good with that.
He's a little bit older. He's 35, but
he's 35. Horrible. Yeah.
I think that's a good age, to get around 35. Like Ben Barnes, like say he's 44. I think that still works. Brendan Skellner is 35.
Mhm.
Say for shits and giggles, Aaron Taylor Johnson gets cast as Flash, which would be awesome.
Mhm.
Because he was Quicksilver in the Avengers movie, so
Yeah.
now he becomes the other fast guy
The
in the
other
other
speedster,
franchise.
right?
Yeah. And he's 35, and I think that would be interesting too, because like Flash has been around for a while, like he's already married. 35 is like a good age range. You can already have Wally introduced,
Mhm.
so when you do the Titans, it's not like too crazy. So, and I think that's what like James Gunn is kind of going towards. Like, I don't think he's going to do a lot of origin kind of movies.
No,
So
I think we're gonna jump right in. You
hmm
know,
hmm
I think
so
they're gonna do the same thing they did with Superman. Just assume the audience is knows enough about the origin,
yeah,
otherwise, and just kind of throw us right in there.
yeah. I just think the opposite for Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he needs to
Mhm.
lose some muscle if he wants to do the Flash. So yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. What happens. I know, talking about the White Eyes real quick. James Gunn was on a podcast. He's been doing a bunch of podcasts.
Mhm.
But he was on a podcast, and he was talking about the White Eyes, and he's like, that's a thing him and his people are talking about. It's like, do we give him white eyes? Do we not give him white eyes? It's like, you know, yeah,
I'd be all for the White Eyes.
me too. Me too.
Like you
I
can
think
make it
that'd be,
work.
yeah, I think that'd be fun. That'd be cool. I like it. But cool. We'll finish that there. So yeah, that's our thoughts on Ben Barnes wanting to play Batman. We talked about him, talked about some other stuff too about this new DCU coming out. But we want to hear from you guys. So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, let us know who you want to see as Batman, if there's anybody you want to see, or any other of the Justice League members that we might get. Wonder Woman still is going to happen soon. We'll see. But leave a comment, let us know. And yep. And if you're in the live chat, we want you guys to stick around because we're going to move on to your comments right now.